Good morning, everyone. Hi, everyone. Are you people there?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you all?
Fine, ma'am.
Fine, ma'am.
How is your school going on?
It's going good, ma'am.
So when are your exams? First exams?
July.
Huh?
Ma'am, I have my exams tomorrow.
From tomorrow. So how you wrote the life process paper? How is it?
Well, ma'am.
You are able to answer the analytical multiple choice questions? Logic reasoning questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Who are not able to answer? Come out, no problem. It's your first exam. You can tell me. I'm not going to hit you or scold you or tell any other bad things. It's in your first year, first term itself. So wherever you're going wrong, we have enough time to correct ourselves. Who are able to answer all the multiple choice? Okay, first let us discuss the paper. I'm not going to answer. Only you people will be answering the paper. Okay. Wait a minute, I'll share the paper. So what is the most important thing here for y'all is last year they have introduced case studies. So when you're in 8th class, I think so, they started to introduce the case studies, but it was not implemented properly for from past 2 years. Maybe you will be the first people to do the case studies in the board exams. So you should be mostly prepared for these case studies in every subject. You will be getting case study in your multiple choice questions or in as a answer 1 mark questions. Okay. So let us first start. So I'll be calling out the names. You should be answering accordingly. I don't want everybody, only one person to answer. So let us discuss the papers. I got the papers yesterday only. I'll be correcting them in 4 or 5 days and be sending you all back. So before that, let us have a quick discussion on the paper. So what is the role of the nasal cavity in the respiratory tract? Aditi? All of you unmute your this. All of you unmute your mics. I don't want anybody to mute your mics.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
All of you, please unmute your mics. No problem. If I get a sound also, no problem. But please unmute your mic. And whoever's mic is not functioning, just answer by chat. But I want everyone to answer. All of you, please unmute your mics. Aditi,
Ma'am,
tell me the answer for the first question. Are you able to answer it?
yes, ma'am.
Tell me.
Ma'am, it helps in the intake of air And it has fine hairs which help in air filtration.
Fine.
Hairs which help in
Ah.
air filtration.
Helps in what? I'm not able to hear you.
Air filtration. Air filtration, mom.
Helps in? Be louder.
Air filtration, mom.
Add sensation.
Air filtration, mom. AIR. Mom,
No,
can you hear me?
no,
Mom,
no.
shall I send it through chat, mom?
No need. Actually, half of your question is very correct. Whereas half is not correct. Anybody can answer? Air filtration. Okay. Any more specific answer?
Air enters the respiratory tract through the nasal cavity.
Yes, that it helps. And also, Aditi, what you wrote is correct only. Air filtration is correct only. But you should be more specific. You should be writing as it removes the dust and germs present in the air. Air filtration itself will not indicate that meaning. Understood? So what is the answer for this question is, the role of the nasal cavity is to help in inhaling the air, as well as the hair-like appendages present in the nasal cavity will be able to purify and moist the air by killing the microorganism and removing the dust particles. Actually, it is present in a small box near the respiratory tract in the box section. So don't remove those boxes also. What is the function of cilia? It is there in that boxes. All of you understood? I told all of you to unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, how does the diaphragm helps in the respiration?
Ma'am, it is a muscular partition which separates the lung from abdominal.
Yes. How it helps?
It helps in contraction and relaxation.
Yes, ma, that all correct only. But still you should come down. What when we breathe in, what will happen? What will happen to the diaphragm?
Contracts and flattens more.
Flattens means it is pulled down. When it is pulled down, what it creates a space for the lungs to expand when we breathe in.
Ma'am,
And
should we write those also for this question, ma'am?
yes, ma'am, because how does diaphragm helps in the inspiration? That is the question you got. So what you told, it flattens all the is correct. It flattens so that a space is created so that the lungs expand.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that you should be mentioning. When we inspire the lung, because it creates a space for the lungs to expand when the inhalation of the air takes place. More than enough. Understood, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Akshita TE, please read the passage.
Yes, ma'am. All
Yeah.
living cells require energy for various activities. This energy is available by the break down of simple carbohydrates, either using oxygen or without using oxygen. First question. Energy in case of higher plants and animals is obtained by.
So how they are obtained? Which bit is correct?
Ma'am, it is tissue respiration.
Yes, it is tissue respiration. In case of higher plants, the roots, where they respire? By stomata. Whereas in animals, we have a complete organ system. Next one. Second one, the graph below presents the blood lactic acid concentration of an athlete during 1 minute. During a race of 400 meters. Shows a peak at point D. So, what is it?
Anaerobic respiration.
Anaerobic respiration.
ma'am.
Yes, good. You need to, it's a simple question. Only you need to understand the flow. Study the graph below that represents the amount of energy supplied with respect to the time while an athlete is running at full speed. So what are the plot A and plot B?
Ma'am, option B, ma'am. Plot A is aerobic and plot B is anaerobic.
Plot A is
Aerobic
anaerobic.
Aerobic.
Yes.
B is
B is anaerobic. Yes,
B,
correct.
ma'am,
How many
option.
of you wrote it correct, this one?
Ma'am, the answer is option
Ma'am.
B only, no, ma'am.
Yes, option D only. Any more? Remaining people are wrong.
Ma'am,
Why
answer
this
is
is
option B or option D, ma'am.
option D, ma'am.
Ma'am, option B, right?
Ma'am, option B, ma'am.
That's not ma'am.
Ma'am, it is
B.
option B, ma'am. B for boy.
Yes, ma'am.
1 minute.
Ma'am, plot A is aerobic and plot B is anaerobic.
Yes, ma'am.
Here, see. This is a condition where the athlete is running at a full speed. When running at full speed, what will happen in his muscles? Can anybody tell?
Ma'am, there is a lack of oxygen, ma'am. So lactic acid will be produced in the muscle cell. Ma'am, plot A is aerobic, ma'am, because in aerobic respiration, a large amount of energy is produced, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Plot A is aerobic. Plot B is anaerobic.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, B is correct only. B only is correct. Not D. Because the anaerobic, the energy levels decreases. Whereas aerobic, the energy levels are consistent. The option is B.
Ma'am, and what is the answer for the first one?
Huh?
Tissue respiration, right?
What I'm not able to understand. Can you repeat, ma?
Ma'am, what is the answer for first one?
Which one? Which question, ma?
Ma'am, she's
The first
asking the
question.
answer for energy
Energy
in the case of
fire
plants
plants and animals is obtained by
Tissue respiration. Next one, the characteristic process observed in anaerobic respiration are, what are those?
Release of carbon dioxide, release of energy, and release of lactic acid.
Option is
Option C, ma'am.
Option C, ma'am.
C.
yes. Now study the table below and select the row that has the incorrect information. What is it?
Ma'am, first one, ma'am.
First one, ma'am.
Option A, ma'am.
First one, ma'am.
Yes. So where does it takes place? Aerobic respiration takes place in?
Cytoplasm.
Cytoplasm, ma'am.
I'm correct one I'm asking. Aerobic respiration takes place in?
Mitochondria, ma'am.
Yes.
Mitochondria.
Anaerobic respiration takes place in?
In yeast, ma'am, during fermentation.
No, site,
Ma'am, cytoplasm.
not organism.
Cytoplasm.
Cytoplasm, vice versa. Okay. So how many of you are correct with all the questions till now?
Ma'am, for me,
For me,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, good. Remaining people you will improve later on. Next, coming to assertion and reasoning. Let us go fast because I want to complete the other sexual reproduction also. Transpiration is a necessary evil. It causes water loss but helps in absorption and upward movement of the water and minerals. So what is your correct option? A, B, C, D.
ma'am, A, ma'am.
A, ma'am.
Yes.
Option A, ma'am.
Yes. Why transpiration is necessary evil? Because it causes loss of water. But in the same way, it helps in the absorption and upward movement of the water also. Next one. Energy is used during the process of respiration. Respiration stores energy in form of ATP.
Ma'am, option C, ma'am.
C.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, I
option
think it's
B.
option B, ma'am.
Ma'am, I think it's option B.
Energy is used during the process of respiration.
Yes, ma'am.
Where? For inhaling or exhaling, anywhere energy is utilized.
I'm option D, ma'am. Option D.
Yes, option D. Energy is nowhere utilized in respiration. Please remember, even in cellular respiration also, no energy is utilized. Only it is used to break down the oxygen we came and generate energy that is in form of ATP. Okay. So energy is never utilized during the process of respiration. So the assertion is false. But a respiration stores energy, means whatever the energy got, it helps in generating and storing the energy. So the assertion is false, but reason is true. Don't be confused. Next one. Sixth one, the raw materials needed for photosynthesis are carbon dioxide, water, and minerals. Nutrients provide energy to an organism. What is the correct option? Correct option.
Option B, ma'am.
Option B. Because both the assertion as well as reasoning are true. But the reason is not a correct explanation to the assertion. Because up assertion is talking about the plants, below is talking about the animals. Any all your doubts are clarified till here?
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, I'll be correcting the papers. So let us go fast with the 3 marks and 5 marks questions. Where does the digestion begin in humans? Which enzyme works there? What is the digestive juice? What is the end product? What is the substrate? Where is the digestive juice produced? So many questions I have given in a one question itself. Each one carries half mark. So where does the digestion begins in the humans? It begins in the
Mouth.
mouth itself. Which enzyme works there?
Salivary
Salivary
amylase.
Salivary
amylase.
amylase. What is the digestive juice produced there?
Saliva.
What are the end product?
Simple sugar.
Correct. What
Ma'am,
is
I
the
wrote maltose,
substrate?
ma'am.
Huh?
Ma'am, I wrote maltose. Is that correct?
No problem. Simple sugar or maltose, also no problem. Even glucose also no problem. Okay. What is the substrate?
Amylose.
So what is the substrate? Substrate means enzyme which what it acts on.
Carbohydrates.
Carbohydrates or starch. So you did not know what is the substrate, all of you. Please remember, substrate means raw material on which the enzyme acts. Where is this digestive juice produced?
Salivary glands.
Salivary
Saliva-
glands, ma'am.
Yes. How many wrote these last two questions? What is substrate and where is digestive juice produced?
Ma'am, I wrote where is digestive straight.
Remaining? Pooja, Sanyu, you people are not answering. Are you able to write it?
Yes, ma'am.
Jahnavi? Able to write it? Jahnavi, please unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to write it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Write the chemical reaction for aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So this is a very direct question. You need to write the equation. What are the end products of photosynthesis? What are the use of these products, end products? So what are the end products of photosynthesis? Or you
Oxygen
wait, I'll call out. Pooja. Pooja?
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Glucose
End
and
products of
oxygen.
end products, ma?
Glucose, oxygen, and water.
Glucose, oxygen, water. Yes, correct.
Water.
What are the uses of the end product? What are the uses of these end products? Pooja. Pooja.
Ma'am, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oxygen is needed for the survival of human beings and glucose is needed for respiration.
No. You should write the use of end products in relation to the plants. Oxygen is utilized in what? It is utilized in cellular respiration
Cellular respiration.
as well as in exchange of gases. And starch or carbohydrate or sugar, whatever it is prepared, is utilized as the nutrients or food for the plant. And the water will be helping in the movement of the upward pull of the plant. Plays an important role in transpiration and upward movement of the water and minerals. Write the functions of the blood vessels. You should be writing the functions of arteries and veins. All of you have written it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
What is blood? Describe its composition. How many of you have wrote it?
I wrote it,
I
ma'am.
have written, ma'am.
So what is blood?
Ma'am, it is
Blood is a red
Ma'am,
color
it's a fluid
connective tissue.
connective tissue, ma'am.
Yes, correct. What describe its composition means you should be writing it contains plasma, blood cells.
Red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets.
Yes. In detail also you can write. Or you can put that flow chart, whatever I given you, you can put that flow chart also, it's more than enough. Name the blood vessel that brings oxygenated blood. Now these all are again one small 1 mark questions. Name the blood vessel that brings the oxygenated blood to the human heart. Which one brings? Pulmonary?
Veins.
Pulmonary
Veins,
veins.
ma'am.
Yes. Which chamber of the heart, the human heart, receives oxygenated blood from lungs?
Left atrium.
Left atrium, correct. Which explain how the oxygenated blood is sent to the all parts of the body. How it's sent? So here you should write in detail. Means first the oxygenated blood enters into the atrium. Once the atrium is filled to the left atrium, once the left atrium is filled, it enters into the left ventricle. And from the left ventricle, it passes through the aorta, and via aorta, oxygenated blood is supplied to the all the tissues of the body. And this type of a supply is also known as systematic circulation. Understood? How many wrote in these lines? Nobody wrote? So next time we will see. So briefly describe the mechanism of urine formation. So you should write that 3, that is tubular reabsorption, secretion, glomerular filtration. Sorry, I jumbled it. Glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, and secretion. Those 3 you need to write and see how the mechanism of urine formation takes place. How does excretion takes place in the plants? That is by stomata and lenticels. What is the role of the respiratory pigment in the respiration? Give an example. What is the main role of the respiratory pigment? It carries the oxygen and carbon dioxide. So best example.
Carbon dioxide and oxygen.
Yes. Best example is hemoglobin. How is double circulation different from a single circulation? In double
Blood travels twice in double circulation and blood travels once in the single circulation. Double circulation occurs in 4-chambered heart. Single circulation occurs in 2-chambered heart. And double circulation is seen in humans. Single circulation seen in fish. And double circulation has venous blood flows. And in single circulation, both oxygenated and carbon dioxide gas. No, blood forms, meaning flows.
Yes. Correct, what you told, everything is correct. I hope all of you have written so. So next, last question. Amoeba, different steps involved in amoeba, and draw a neat label diagram. So this is a direct question. Next, enumerate 5 marks. First one is completely, I just gave you in a way. First mark is completely about the digestive system. And second one is about the lymphatic system. And lymphatic system, that is lymph, and also about the differences between arteries, veins, and capillaries. So all of you, I think so, got to know what you people have not known. So with this, I'm stopping this one. So let us move on to the lesson. So I'll correct your papers and give you shortly. So where we are in the reproduction? Can anybody tell me where we are?
Ma'am, it is not sexual reproduction in proper.
I'm not able to hear you. Where we are?
Ma'am, we should start reproduction in flowering plants.
We talked about the flowering plants. Now we need to see how the reproduction takes place in the flowering plant. So please first, before going in detail, now first let me explain, then please write your notes, because this is a little bit difficult for you all. Okay, so this is a TS of a ovary. Okay, I'm putting 1 minute, let me take a pointer. So this is the TS of a ovary, whereas this is the stigma, this is the style, and this is the ovule or ovary. So this is the female part of a flowering plant. What we are seeing is the female part of the flowering plant. What is the female part of the flowering plant known as?
Pistil.
Or it is also known as carpel also. Okay. So this is the female part of the flowering plant. So what happens here is, first the pollen grains from the anther will be coming and falling on the stigma. Okay, I'm putting 2 dots. These are the pollen grains. Okay, so the pollen grains comes and falls on the stigma, because the stigma is sticky in nature. Once the pollen grains fall on them, the pollen grains will not leave the stigma. Once the pollen grains have fallen on it, now a tube will be created. This tube is known as the style or pollen tube. This tube is known as style or pollen tube. Okay. Now the pollen grains will be entering into this pollen tubes to reach the ovary, because the eggs are present inside the ovary only. Once they enter into the pollen tube, now when the pollen grains enter into the pollen tube, now the pollen grains will be broken down, and one pollen grain will be giving 2 male gametes. So 1 minute, let me erase so that it will be neat and clear for you all. So the one pollen grain, as it's in the midway itself, means when it is present in the pollen tube itself, one pollen grain will be broken down to give 2 male gametes. Please remember, one pollen grain will give how many male gametes?
2 male gametes.
2 male gametes. So these male gametes finally reaches the ovary or ovule. Now coming to this small part, that is where the eggs are present. Okay, this is known as the ovary. So this ovary, if you take, when we remove all this and when we see only the inside of the ovary, it is in oval shape like this. There will be 3 cells in one side and also few cells in the opposite sides like this. And between there will be 2 dots. So the cells towards where the male gametes enter, at the entry point, these cells contains the eggs. So the cells which are present towards the side, means where it is entry side, these cells contains the eggs. The opposite cells are known as antipodal cells. Okay, whereas the two dots in the middle are known as polar nuclei. Okay, now since we have two male gametes, first one male gamete will be fusing with the egg. So one male gamete will be fusing with the egg, and the second male gamete will be fusing with the nuclei. Okay, one male gamete will be fusing with the egg, one male gamete will be fusing with the polar nuclei, and this process is known as syngamy, means fertilization. When the male gametes fuses with the egg, we form a diploid zygote, and this process is known as syngamy. Okay, because there is a 2 times, means the fusion takes place 2 times. Now this is known as triple fission, and the fertilization is known as double fertilization, because the act of fusion takes place twice, because one male gamete will be fusing with the eggs, one male gamete will be fusing with the polar nuclei, because this is because it forms a triplode. Triplode means it's not 2n, double, it's not diploid, but it is triploid, because 2 times the fusion takes place. Okay, such a fusion is known as triple fusion, and the fertilization is known as double fertilization. Why it is known as triploid? Because here it is, when a male gamete and female gamete fuses, we get 2n. Diploid state, always we get a diploid state. But here another fusion is there, because we call it as triploid. Why is it triple fusion? Here one fusion with one nuclei, here with 2 nuclei. Altogether we call it as a triple fusion. And because fertilization takes place twice, we call it as double fertilization. Understood? Once again, I'm giving a summary so that you will be able to understand. So that now the eggs will be coming and falling, the pollen grains will be coming and falling on the stigma. Once the pollen grains comes and falls on the stigma, a pollen tube will be developed. Now the pollen grains enter into this pollen tube or style. In the midway, the pollen grains will be broken down to form 2 male gametes. One pollen grain will be giving rise to 2 male gametes. Now the pollen grains enters to the ovaries via the pollen tube. Once they enter into the ovary, one male gamete fuses with the egg and fertilizes the egg to form a zygote. Other male gamete fuses with the polar nuclei. Such a type of a fertilization is, such a type of a fission is known as triple fission, and a fertilization is known as a double fertilization. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts? Any doubts? And this is the important 5 marks question along with the diagram. You have any doubts?
Ma'am, if there are more than one pollen grain, means what will happen, ma'am?
Always one pollen grain gives rise to 2 male gametes. See, many pollen grains may enter. Only 2 male gametes will be fusing.
Okay, ma'am.
Any more doubts?
No, ma'am.
Next, finally, the formation of fruits and egg. So the fertilized egg, now the fertilized egg will be divided. It's like a continuation of what we are studying in the previous slide. So the fertilized egg will be divided several times to form an embryo, and the which is present between the ovule. So the ovule finally develops a tough coat and gradually converts to the seed. So the egg will be forming oh, wait 1 minute. The zygote which forms develops into an embryo, and this embryo develops into ovule, and the ovules will be developing into seeds. This ovule, where it is present is, it is present inside the ovary. And the ovary will be developing into fruit. Understood? So ovules will be developing into seeds. Ovary will be developing into a fruit. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is ovule will be developing?
Into seeds.
Ovary? Ovary?
Fruits.
Now I give you a mango. Now you tell me which one is ovary, which one is ovule. I give you a mango. What is the ovary over? What is ovule over there?
The seed is the ovary.
The seed present inside is the ovule, whereas the complete fruit is what is the complete fruit?
Ovary.
Yes. So that is how the ovary of the flower develops and becomes into a fruit. So like soft mangoes or oranges or guava or peanuts, anything, all these are nothing but the ovary itself. Okay. So the fruits will be protecting the seed, and the seed is the main reproductive unit of the plant. It contains the baby plant. Okay. So when we again now we are coming back to the main part, that is the seed. So when we put the seed into a soil, it germinates and forms. This is the soil, and I have planted a seed in the soil. It germinates and forms into a baby plant. So what does this baby plant means? What does the part of this baby plant contains? Usually the seeds contains cotyledons. These cotyledons are nothing but the storage parts of the seed, food storage parts of the seeds, where they will be providing nutrition or nutrients required for the seed to germinate. So what will happen is when we pour the water, the seeds will be swelling itself and will be giving rise to a new plant. So what are the first parts that come from the baby from the seed? So the shoot part is known as plumule. The first part means if this is the cotyledon, in the middle axis will be the parts of the plant which comes out. The shoot part is known as the plumule and the root part is known as the radicle. The shoot part is known as the plumule and the root part is known as the radicle. So this plumule will be developing as the future shoot develops into a shoot, and radicle will be developing into a root. Whereas these cotyledons will be providing the food required for its development. So if this is the seed and when we break it, this is how the seed looks like. So under these favorable conditions, that is when we give it proper water, air, temperature, all this, when we give, the seed germinates into a new plant. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So with this, we have completed the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Now we'll be talking about the sexual reproduction in humans. Okay, so the human reproductive system contain. You have any doubts in this flowering plant? Any doubts are there? It's clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let us move on to the human reproductive system. So human reproductive system contains 6 organs and also sex glands are also present. First we'll be talking about the 6 organs, or we have a very well developed human reproductive system. The reproductive system for the males is different, reproductive system for the females is different. So when we first will be talking with the sex organs which are present in the males and sex organs which are present in the females. Okay, coming to the sex organs. Sex organs are divided into 2 types: primary sex organs and secondary sex organs. Both in case of males as well as in females, the sex organs are divided into 2 types: primary sex organs and secondary sex organs. The primary sex organs that produce the gametes and sex hormones are known as the primary sex hormones. The organs that produce both the gametes, that is male or female gametes, and the required sex hormones are known as primary sex organs. So in case of males, the testes are the main sex organs, where they produce the sperm and also the male sex hormone testosterone. Whereas in case of females, ovaries are the primary sex organs where they produce the female gametes, ova, or we also can call it as eggs, and the female sex hormones, that is the testosterone and progesterone. And please remember, these 2 are the most important 1-mark questions, because they will be asking you all the what are the hormones synthesized by the male gametes and the female gametes. So again, I am repeating, the main sex organ of the males is testes, and they produce the gametes, male gametes known as sperm, and the male sex hormone, that is the testosterone. Whereas the main sex organs for the females is ovary. They produce the female gametes, that is eggs or ova, and female hormone, that is estrogen and progesterone. Now coming to the secondary sex organs. The secondary sex organs include genital ducts and the glands, which helps in transporting the gametes from one place to the other place and help in reproductive process. But these will never produce any gametes or secrete any hormones. Only they help in the transportation and assist in the reproductive process. Understood? Now we'll move on to the sexual characters. And this is again a 3 marks question. So primary sexual characters, when we talk about the sexual characters, what are the primary sexual characters and secondary sexual characters? So primary sexual characters means the character that distinguish from us from the males or females or from boys or the girls at the time of birth. We can distinguish whether the baby born is a boy or whether the baby born is a girl. These are the primary sexual characters. But as we grow, we attain an age known as puberty. That is your age. Okay. At the age from the age of 13 to 15, we attain a age known as, this age is known as puberty, or we can call it as a adolescent age. So during this period, the reproductive organs will be becoming functional. And the gametes, the organs will be synthesizing the required gametes and sex organs, and they become more mature. Okay, so this is the age. This age is known as puberty, and the puberty or adolescent age, where the reproductive organ starts to become functional and mature, and they will be where the actual reproductive organs, that is the testes and the ovaries, will be secreting the male and female gametes and help in or assist in the reproduction. So when this puberty or adolescent age is received, so in the case of males, the puberty is attained at the age of 13 or 14 years. So it is usually triggered by the secretion of a hormone known as testosterone from the testes, and leads to the development of secondary sexual characters during the puberty, and also helps it to maintain throughout the life. So the puberty in males is attained at the age of 13 or 14. And how the puberty is triggered? It is triggered by the secretion of a testosterone hormone from their male from the testes. Due to this, they will be able to develop all the secondary sexual characters. We will discuss what are those in the next slide. Next, in case of females, the puberty is attained at age of 10 to 12 years. And again, this also is triggered with the help of a hormone known as estrogen, released from the ovaries. And this also helps in the development of secondary sexual characters. So what is the puberty age in males? What is the puberty age in males? Are people there?
Yes,
What is the puberty age in the males?
13 to 14 years.
And what is that in females?
10 to 12 years.
10 to 12 years. And what is the hormone released in males, Amrita? What is the hormone released in males?
Testosterone,
And what is that it released in females?
progesterone.
Yeah. Let us move to the next slide. So what are these secondary sexual characters that we develop during the puberty? So in case of males, enlargement of penis and scrotum, broadening of shoulders, growth of body hair and facial hair, deepening of the voice due to enlargement of larynx and thickening of vocal cords, increase in the development of musculature and bones, and increase in height. These are the secondary sexual characters that are developed in the males during the time of puberty. And they start to develop from the time of puberty, and mostly it extends up to 15 or for some cases even 16 years also. By the time you reach your +2, you will be developing all the secondary sexual characters. Next, coming to the females. In case of females, growth of the breast and external genitalia, growth of pubic hair and extra hair in armpits, broadening of pelvis, initiation of menstruation and ovulation, increase in fat, particularly in thighs, shoulders, buttocks, and face. So all these are the secondary sexual characters that are developed in males and females. And this has been repeated, means not frequently asked, but they have asked this question in the 3 marks. Either males or females, not both. Okay, shall I move on? Have you people noted it down?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, coming to the male reproductive system. So these are the different parts in the male reproductive system. This diagram, they are never going to ask you all. So you no need to practice this diagram, but you need to know what are the different parts, because they will be asking you to write the function of these parts as the in 5 marks as a part of the question they have given. Also in 3 marks also they have given you to write the function of each and every part. So please look into the diagram properly. I'll be explaining you all the different parts. Or if you have your textbook also, you can keep it in front of you, because this diagram is taken from the textbook itself. Okay, so coming to the different parts of the male reproductive organs. First, let us see what are the parts. That is scrotum, testis, that is the primary sex organ, vasa deferens, urethra, and penis. So this part is known as the scrotum. The part which is present below the penis is known as the scrotum. So what is scrotum? It is a pouch of pigmented skin which is present below the abdomen and hanging between the legs. So it is of 2 types. We can be divided into left and right scrotum. And what is the main function of this scrotum? It is the thermoregulator. The main function of this scrotum is thermoregulator, and it maintains the temperature 2 degrees less than that of the body temperature. Because scrotum is the area where the sperms are stored. The sperms which are released by the testes will be stored in scrotum, and the sperms cannot be sustained at higher temperature. So always the temperature in the scrotum is 2 degrees less than that of the body temperature. So it is a thermoregulator, and it provides this optimum temperature for the storage of the sperms. Okay, that is the function of the scrotum. Next, coming to the next part, that is the testes. What are testes? Testes are the primary sex organs lying in the scrotum. Please, you can see the picture over here. 1 minute. So the testis lies within the scrotum, and this is the site where the sperms are produced, and also the sex hormone, the testosterone, is produced. So the sperms are produced as well as the testosterone is produced in the testes. Once they are produced in the testes, the sperms will be entering and be stored in the scrotum. And the scrotum will be providing the optimum temperature required for its storage. After that, again, another storage organ, sorry, this is not a, you can, don't write the storage in the scrotum. It will be storing the scrotum, but also most important function is it provides the optimum temperature required for the storage and function of the sperms. Next one, vasa differentia. So this small tube which is being connecting from the scrotum and going up to the penis. This small tube is known as vasa differentia. So it is a straight tube. It is usually 40 centimeters long, and it carries the sperms from the scrotum to the seminal vesicles. These are the seminal vesicles. Still here it will be carrying the sperm. And sometimes the sperms are also temporarily stored in the vasa differentia. Okay. So we'll talk about the seminal vesicles later. Next comes the urethra. I think so all of you have been studied this in the excretory system itself. So urethra, it is a 20 centimeters long tube that is usually arising from the urinary bladder, and its main function is to carry the urine also. Okay, but here it also carries the sperms. In addition to urine, it has a double function. The urethra will be also carrying the sperms from the vasa differentia through the penis. You can see the urethra is passing through the penis. So it will be carrying the sperms, including the urine. It's like a double function for it. So it will be carrying the sperms from the vasa differentia towards the penis. Next, penis. Penis is a thick, long, thick muscular organ. Mostly contains the erectile tissue. So this opens outside the body. So it is a passage. It acts as a passage to transfer the sperms from the male body to the vagina of the female body, where the sperms are carried inside the urethra itself. But this acts, the penis acts as a passage where the sperms will be transferred from the male sex organ to the female sex organ. Understood? These are the functions of the different parts of the male reproductive system. All of you have noted it down, or it's in your textbook. You can underline also, or you can note it down. Take a screenshot. Any doubts still here? Any doubts? Shall I move on to the next slide? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, it's clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't be ashamed. All these are parts of a human body. There's nothing to be ashamed about it. In addition to these main reproductive organs, there will be sex glands in the males. What are these sex glands? They are known as seminal vesicles and the prostate glands. And this one will be repeatedly asked, what is the function of the seminal vesicles? You can see in the picture also. There is a seminal vesicle as well as the prostate glands. Okay, these are the like a secondary organs of the male reproductive system. Okay, what is this function? So the seminal vesicle usually secrete a fluid known as seminal fluid, and this fluid contains the carbohydrates, that is the sugar. It also helps, it gives a medium for the sperms to be able to swim and be transported, and also it contains sugar which provides the nourishment to the sperms. Understood? So the seminal glands secrete a fluid known as seminal vesicle that provides, and this seminal vesicle contains sugar, fructose, or it contains sugars. You can write it. This main function is to provide the energy required for the or nutrients required for the sperms, or we call it group of sperms are known as spermatozoa. And finally helps in the transport of the sperms. Next, prostate gland. Prostate gland also secrete a fluid which contains enzymes. These enzymes helps in the nourishment and activates the sperms that swim. Means it activates the sperms and help them or aid them to swim through this seminal fluid. Understood? Again, I'm repeating. You can write it down because I mixed it up in the presentation. Please write down. The seminal fluid, the seminal vesicle secretes seminal fluid that contains sugars that provide nutrition to the spermatozoa. The fluid helps in the transport of the sperms. Next, prostate glands. Prostate glands also secrete a fluid that contains citrate and enzymes that help in the nourishment as well as activation of the spermatozoa to swim. Finished? Have you finished, all of you?
Yes.
Clear? Any doubts? Any doubts still here? Any doubts? So with this, I'm concluding the class for today. In the next class, we'll be talking about the female reproductive system and also the fertilization, followed by concluding by next class, we'll complete this chapter. So if you have any doubts in today's class? Okay, with this, I'm concluding the class for today. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.